In the quiet tree-lined streets of Rosewood, Virginia, a sleepy town nestled near the Appalachian foothills, lived Eleanor Grayson, an 82-year-old widow with snow-white hair always pinned into a neat bun, a collection of well-worn sweaters, and the gentle voice of someone who had spent a lifetime tending to others. Her home, a charming two-story Victorian passed down through three generations, sat at the end of Maple Lane, its white shutters and rose garden a testament to decades of love and care. Eleanor had no children. Her husband Thomas had died 20 years earlier. Since then, she had lived a life of quiet routine, morning walks, tea and noon, and Friday afternoon bridge with the other elderly women in town. Despite the occasional loneliness, Eleanor found peace in her memories, books, and music from the 1940s playing on her dusty record player. Her only modern indulgence was her computer and old desktop her nephew had given her years ago. Through it, she had discovered the world of community forums and social media. She began chatting in gardening forums, sharing photos of her roses, and even made a few online friends. The stranger named Mark. That's how she met Mark Hensley. He had messaged her on a gardening site, complimenting her photos and sharing his own stories of growing up on a farm in Tennessee. He said he was 46, recently divorced with two grown children and working part-time as a handyman while helping care for his ailing mother. His messages were kind, warm, and respectful. Over time, Eleanor found herself looking forward to their chats. He asked about her life, listened to her stories, and even remembered the name of her cats, Jasper and Lily. Months passed, Mark began calling her Miss Ellie. Eleanor, long deprived of deep conversation, let her guard down. She confided in him about her youth, her fear of growing older and the loneliness that sometimes crept in during the long winter nights. Mark in turn shared stories that tugged at her heart, how he had lost his job during the pandemic, how his mother's health was declining, how he felt like the world had forgotten me like him. Then came the moment that changed everything. Mark said he wanted to visit just to meet you in person. He wrote, "You remind me of my mother, kind voice with a heart bigger than this whole town." Eleanor hesitated, but her heart overruled her mind. She offered him her guest room. The visitor, Mark, arrived on a warm September evening in a battered Ford truck. He was tall, with salt and pepper hair, kind eyes, and a southern drawl that made everything sound gentle. He bought flowers, roses, and hugged Eleanor as if they had known each other for years. For the next few weeks, he stayed at Eleanor's house, fixing her leaky roof, organizing her garage, and cooking hearty meals. The townspeople were worried, but Eleanor defended him. He's like family, she had said with a soft smile. Not everyone comes into our lives to take something. Then the changes began. Subtly at first, Eleanor began withdrawing cash more often. She maintained something about helping Mark invest in a small handyman business just until he get back on his feet. She told her rich friends. Mark convinced her to let him help with her finances. Just simple things like paying bills online. He said it was too dangerous for her to handle it all alone. alone. Scammers are everywhere. Miss Ellie, you are lucky you have got me. The betrayal. One crispy October morning, Eleanor woke to find Mark gone. He struck his duffel bag. Even the roses he had bought all vanished. At first, she thought he had gone to the hardware store. Then she saw her computer screen. Her bank account, once holding over $150,000 in savings, was nearly empty. Her retirement fund had been accessed. There were wire transfers to accounts in Texas, Florida, and one offshore. Panic overtook her. She tried calling Mark's number, but it had been disconnected. The police confirmed that she feared Mark Hensley was an alias. He had a criminal record under multiple names: fraud, identity theft, elder exploitation. He had preyed on lonely seniors across the country, vanishing each time before the law could catch him. Picking up the pieces, Eleanor was shattered. She felt humiliated, violated, and foolish. The betrayal was not just financial, it was emotional. She had trusted him, confident in him, and in some way loved him like a son. But Eleanor was not one to crumble. With help from local authorities and the FBI's Elder Fraud Division, she began the long process of reclaiming her identity and accounts. The community, once skeptical, now rallied behind her. A GoFundMe page was set up by her neighbors, and within weeks, people from all over the country sent letters, donations, and words of encouragement. Local news picked up her story soon. It was national. Eleanor, wearing her favorite blue cardigan, sat in front of a camera and told the world, "Don't let loneliness make you vulnerable. People like him, they find cracks in your soul and pray them open." Justice and hope. Months later, the FBI tracked down the man calling himself Mark in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was arrested during a routine traffic stop. Inside his vehicle were fake IDs, prepaid debit cards, and the remnant of his latest scam. In court, Eleanor sat in the front row. She watched as the man who had deceived her refused to meet her eyes. He asked if she had a statement of sentencing. She stood, her voice steady. "You stole my money, but more than that, you tried to steal my faith in humanity. I won't let you win." He was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison, a garden replanted. 2 years later, Eleanor Rose Garden bloomed bright than ever. She had written a memoir, The Rosewood Deception, which became a modest bestseller. She donated part of the proceeds to a foundation helping victims of online scams. Though she still lived in her quiet Victorian home, she was no longer alone. Her story had connected her. 2,000 letters came in weekly, and once a month, a group of women met at her house for tea and resilience. They called themselves the Bloomers, women who had been betrayed but chose to bloom again. Eleanor Grayson never forget the pain of betrayal, but she chose not to live in fear. In the twilight of her life, she became something unexpected, a voice for the silence, a symbol of strength, a rose that survived the storm. Like, share, and subscribe channel to get more updates. Thanks for watching.